The studio today, we're privileged to have Oloniniran Gbenga, otherwise known as Voice of Nigeria. He's the chairman, Great Ife Student Union Action Committee. He's also the secretary of the Alliance of Nigerian Students Against Neoliberal Attacks. It's a pleasure having you on Sahara TV, Gbenga.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here.
You're one of the OAU 5 that was remanded in prison by the Professor Ogunbodede-led authorities.
Exactly.
After the protest. Tell us, what's your experience like in prison?
Well, in a way, we all know that the prison is not a nice place.
A lot of Nigerians wanted to know what actually led to your arrest
In the prison. Okay, thank you. On the 21st of March, there was issue of our students in Moremi Hall, not even only Moremi Hall, Awolowo Hall, Fajri Hall, ETF. Their property were being thrown out, destroyed. In fact, if you know OAU State very well, the buildings are very much tall. And they are throwing students' laptop, gadgets, luggages from the top buildings to the floor. So a lot of property got destroyed. In fact, the most terrible scenario was the case of the Moremi Hall. The Hall warden parked those property out. And in fact, she poured petrol. She was going to burn students' property. So it was on that kind of, a very drastic measure that our students had to put call across to the Union Action Committee, which happened to be one of them. And of course, as union officer, you have to be responsible to your students. So we got there. We also saw the barbaric acts. We called the warden because we had a meeting with her the previous day to that day, that they should not go ahead with this violent way of evicting students. So we went there. We said, warden, these students have legitimate reasons to be on campus, to be in the hostels. A lot of them were on CWES, TP, IT, and final year students who are also doing projects. So, and these programs are also what the university had organized for students to actually take them up immediately after the session runs to an end. So students were on campus to actually, in fact, some of our students had to resume classes as early as 7 a.m. So when you now come and you send them out of the hostel, do you want them to go and stay on the tree or under the bridge? So those were the issues we went to attend to. So it was in the course of this, verbal or oral conversion with the hall warden, we just realized that 3 different vans had mobilized. The mobilization was very swift. There were many of them.
Who are these people?
These people, we could recognize the faces of the university security, especially one, Adiagbu Abiola. He's popularly known as Booster. He led the troop. So when they came, they were not even ready to listen to anything. It just came that, who are you guys? Before we could respond, it was beating, it was brutalization. I suffered a lot of injuries. So instead of getting treatment in the medical center, I was remanded in the prison again. So after that beating and all that, where they forced us into their van, about 5 of us. They drove us to More police station. The deputy area commander was even asking those that brought us out, are you just coming to dump them here? What exactly is their offense? I can't just dump people here and go, because that was what they wanted to do.
How are you able to meet up with the bail conditions?
We were able to meet those conditions about after 1 week.
It was reported that students and journalists were denied access to the courtroom by the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police during your hearing.
Yeah, exactly. That was on the 22nd of March, the day we were arraigned in the courts. So our students came, they wanted to enter. Even journalists, pressmen, they came, wanted to enter. The police that came with us stopped them. In fact, they released tear gas, and a lot of us said that to even disperse, just to ensure that we don't go and demand for justice in the court of law.
You released a press statement recently talking about the state of the union, state of the campus.
University as a whole.
Some of the issues were raised include the incessant victimization of students.
Exactly.
What are your demands in that regard?
Yeah, our demands is that before now, the university has been attacking students' unionism. And it is because they want to carry out some of these policies that will be against students, and they don't want us to expose them. And some of those issues is the fact that they want to drive majority of students away from the house of residence to go and seek accommodation in town. And the accommodation built in town are also owned by university officials who just want to make profit at the expense of students. During exam periods, students don't have water, no lights. Students have to go as far as going to stream. That's how terrible OAU is, to fetch from the stream. And in fact, that's not the end of it too. In the rooms, the beds are infected with bed bugs. So all of these issues are what we admire that you should renovate the hostel, then build more hostel for students on campus. Recently, we discovered that they built about 2 blocks of hostel at Parakin in town. That hostel was built with the needs assessment fund, which means a public fund that was meant to use to build hostel for students on campus. The university has not used up to 30% of its vast expanse of land. So they had to go and build it in town to convert it into private hostel that will be rented at the end of the day by Yahoo boys, not even students again. And in fact, if you go to campus now, just directly opposite the current Senate building that had the university management officials, they are building a ship-like Senate building. They received money from a CBN. Those money were meant to build accommodation for students on campus and improve the facilities, but they rather converted into building Senate building for themselves. Whereas the current Senate building has vast spaces that has not even been occupied at all. Before we were arrested, there's already a student, Kazim Olalikon Gani. His portal was deactivated. No reason, he has not been invited for any panel to investigate what exactly is his offense. But we know him as a student activist, so they deactivated his portal. So after we were arrested, we went to prison. On returning from the prison on bail, that was around 29th of March, I discovered I could not access my own e-portal too. When I tried to log in, it says your studentship status is not active as you had disciplinary action. You can see that English itself, the grammatical structure itself is incomprehensive and very ambiguous. I am not disciplinary action. And besides, I have not been invited by anybody for any panel, for any offense. In fact, if you now want to link my offense to the issue of the arrest, I was only beaten by the same university security. And in fact, the case is still in court. So I think universities has now turned themselves into automatic court to now decide punishments for people without even giving them fair hearing. So we are demanding that the e-portal of myself, Oyedeji Samson, and Alaode Afolabi Samuel is here seated. He has not been invited. In fact, he was not even part of the 5 that were arrested. But recently, his portal has not been blocked. We are demanding that those accounts on the e-portal should be reactivated. Yeah, and we still have case of 3 other students that have been suspended since last session. Omole Ibukun, Jacob Tosin Emerald, and Oluwalade Babatunde.
Why is this university authority still saying that you have committed a crime?
In fact, if you listen to the whole argument of the university on the first place, they are trying to even say they are not the one even prosecuting us, that it is the police. They are trying to reduce it into a state issue, whereas that was not the case. So what we are saying is that these students have not committed any crime. So we are demanding that those charges should be dropped against the way 5 in court.
Tell us about the accommodation of students.
The accommodation on campus is very much terrible. Awolowo Hall is no longer a place you can refer to as accommodation for students. In fact, the toilets, they are so terrible that even the toilets we used in the prison is far much better than the condition of hostel that was meant for undergraduates. In fact, apart from that too, there is no, in the hostel, there is no proper water system. In fact, the university has now gone so ridiculous that they are now digging wells for students in the 21st century. That you have to fetch water from the wells. In fact, a student nearly fell into the well as at last semester. We are demanding that the hostel should be renovated. The hostel is very much terrible. We were supposed to resume in I think March. So the university postponed April 3rd. The university now postponed the revision from April 3rd to 29th of April. That's towards the end of this month. And the argument is that they want to renovate the hostel. And I can tell you that we have been on break now for about 2 months. I think the only renovation they are doing is cutting grasses. We are demanding that the renovation should be properly done, a sincere one to be precise.
He also demands that more measures be put in place as regards security of lives and property.
Yes.
Why is that?
In fact, before we can even talk about our academic success on campus or our survival, we have to talk about security. And right now, cultism is fast growing on that campus, to the extent that you now see people, flying their colors and bullying students up and down. And this is not how it used to be. But since the inception of this draconian Vice-Chancellor, Professor Itokpe Ogunbodedi, we have had a lot of security threats. That even now, university security that are supposed to be ensuring the protection of students, they are even joining in attacking students. In fact, recently, before the break, last semester, a female student was assaulted around academics. The security was demanding money from her. That's why she's walking around 11 p.m. in the night around campus. And in OAU, you can walk around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So the security just wanted to extort the students instead of protecting him. And in fact, the issue of courtism is very much, we frown at it very much on OAU campus. And that is why the university security, rather than, they know all of these courtists. In fact, somebody like Teddy, we demanded that he should be arrested and even prosecuted because he led, the president of the union then, Dr. Biki, led some courtists to campus to attack students. The Teddy was part of those that came to attack. So he's still working freely on campus. And the university, they roll with this person, they drink, they collect money from beer from them, and they roll together at beer parlor. So rather than prosecuting them, the Yorubas will say, "Enotosi jedudu, kuleso ododo." So that's how the security on campus has been somewhat terrible. And in town too. In fact, the moment people discover that the university is trying to drive students away from campus, the rate of, burglary now, kidnapping, ritual, assaults, a lot of issues are now affecting students in town. In fact, the Ife Modakeke issue itself is still very much, prominent. So these are issues that students have been subjected to in town. So, and we are saying the only place that is secure and safe for our students is on campus. Build hostels on campus. But no, the university will collect money. It's that they don't build it, or they go and convert it to a private accommodation in town where they will be making money.
You also talked about the unavailability of identity cards for students and attempted fee hike. This has always been a subject of controversy in many institutions. Why that?
Okay, thank you. On the issue of ID card, in fact, if the university wants to deny every of the accusation we are actually laying on them, they can't deny the issue of ID card. Throughout last session, the fresh students who were in their part 1, so they've completed the session, they had no access to any identity card. In fact, about 10 of our students had to sleep in police custody because they were just packed. You know how Nigerian police do, they were just packed. And they could not, and when they say they are students, they ask them to present a proof of their studentship. They can't present anything. The university collected around us from about 35,000 students, 500 naira each for ID card. That's 17.5 million naira, more than 35,000. So the question is, the 17.5 million naira, was it swallowed by snake or monkey?
Apart from the issuing of press statements and perhaps visiting media houses in order to get the words out to Nigerians, what other methods are you looking at in order to ensure that these demands of yours are actually met?
Right now, we have discovered that it had turned to, a very empty result. They are, negotiating with the management or continuing to demand from them. So what we are doing right now is to take the issue to the public. We are calling the attention of the federal government, the relevant agencies like EFCC, to come and probe into the, in fact, financial administration of the Obafemi Awolowo University. We are calling on our parents, workers, guardians, the Nigerian state as a whole, to monitor the dealings, the affairs that is going on in OAU. We are also demanding that the university should stop using crackers. Crackers are university security. And they are not even qualified to be security. Many of them are these people that were recruited from Ife Modakeke War just to settle this issue of peace. So they were recruited to campus to be staying around quarters where you have lecturers, staff, as vigilantes, to just be staying there and monitoring. They are not supposed to come to students' environment at all because they are not civilized. They are not qualified to deal with students. And we have a proof of it. When they come to students, they just act as if they are fighting Ife Modakeke War. Recently, they went to Awolowo Hall with planks, with canes, with cutlass, and all sorts of weapons. They beat students, they injured a lot of students. We are using this video to tell parents who have wards in Obafemi Awolowo University, the Nigerian state, the federal government, to begin to mount pressure on the violence as being led by the Vice Chancellor, because these persons act under the order of the Vice Chancellor. This Vice Chancellor is not fit to administer such an academic environment. Is either he's in the military or is leading Ife Modakeke War.
We have Dunex Samuel, the acting coordinator of Educational Rights Campaign of Obafemi Awolowo University, chapter of that.
Yes, thank you.
Your organization, Educational Rights Campaign, has been at the forefront of championing students' agitations. And so what are your demands as far as the crisis in Obafemi Awolowo is concerned?
Thank you very much. I think the first thing we have to establish which is the underlying factor of our demands, is even the democratic running of the university environment in a way that the affairs, in fact, the resources itself, is democratically managed and even transparent for students and workers to even see. Because majority of the issues we face as students, the workers themselves are not disconnected. So I think the democratic management of the university and also the recognition of the independence of students' democratic rights, in which the freedom of association is one, and also the independence of the union is another. And in fact, the right to woman dignity and other democratic rights of such nature.
The democratization of the decision-making organ of the university, with the inclusion of elected workers and student representatives as stated in the University Act. What do you mean in this regard?
The simple expression of that is that there's a clause of the University Act, though it has not been recognized over the years, that students themselves and even workers themselves should be included in the decision-making organ of the body.
Part of your demands is also, you've also accused the police of being used as tools to harass students. How do you mean?
Thank you very much. It has been a case ever since the inception of the Professor Ogunbode-led administration. Though apart from the allegations of the management, in order to save themselves from the public anger, that the police was responsible for the OU5. Though it was obvious that the people that arrested the OU5 were members of the school security unit. But at the court, the police force was used to repel us from entering the court. In fact, they used tear gas canisters on us. So it was more or less like a court trial. Students were not allowed, and also journalists were not allowed. And that is one case. In fact, talking about the students' union itself, during the prescription of when the union was actually prescribed by the management, at the initial part, they wanted to lock it, but we resisted. So they had to come back, I think 2 days after, and they came back in the night with policemen that were armed to the teeth. In fact, they brought guns. So students that were inside the building at that time, they told them to come down, and they sat down on the floor. You know how they treat criminals in that kind of state. And students that were coming from academics, that is in the middle of the night, because in OAU campus is a free environment. You can move at any time of the day. So the students that were coming from the academic area were told to stay back in order not to inform students that were in the halls. So it was a kind of coordinated and brutal attack. So I think at that point, it could have been a case of accidental discharge. So with the persistence and consistency of these things, it is a threat to the existence and survival on campus. So that is why we are calling for an immediate stop to the use of police force and militarization on campus.
What other proactive actions will the ERC be embarking upon in order to ensure that these demands are made by the school authority?
Thank you very much. I think, like I stated earlier, one of the demands is a campaign for the democratization of the decision-making organ of the university. And in fact, most of the problems we face cannot be disconnected from that particular case. And also, the problem that is being faced by Nigerian education system itself as a whole. You can see similar cases happening in Ife, happening in Ibadan, happening in Akure, is the fact that the education itself, the education sector is underfunded by the federal government. The UNESCO resolution for the funding of education was to be 26%. But here in Nigeria, we get 6% for the many universities, polytechnics, secondary schools we have. So then how do you expect such kind of little fund to even cater for the university? Whereas the management themselves, they also want to defend their paymasters. At the same time, collectively shifting the burden of irresponsible leadership on students. So in the Education Rights Campaign, we are actually embarking on a campaign to demand for the proper funding of the education. And in fact, you agree with me that education is the only development, is the only intellectual force that can make a nation grow. So that is our campaign.
Thank you very much, Junex Samuel. We appreciate your insightful comment.
Great Ife, Africa's most beautiful campus. We are conscious, vigilant, progressive, and luther against all oppression. Forward never, backward never, for learning and culture.